Hello and welcome to the Armband. I'm your host Chris, and as always, Kieran is here with me too. How are you doing today, Geek?
Yeah, I'm okay. Spirits up going for this week, so hopefully gonna be better than last week.
Nice. Well, there's a little bit to get to today. We're going to have a look at both our teams, see what our selections are looking like for FPL Game Week 2. We've got quite a few sort of benching dilemmas to go through, which I think might be quite useful. What people should do with players like Eze, who now look like they're on the move to Arsenal. We're also going to talk about some transfers, because it's transpired today that Frimpong, who is, as a surprise to us, the most owned defender in FPL. Don't know how that happened, but he's out, and so we're going to just have a chat about who we think might be the best replacements. We're going to have a talk about Captaincy too. So just before we get into the show proper, 2 things to say. If you do enjoy what we do during the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It would mean the world to us if you join us this and future seasons. As this season we both try and crack the top 10k. Feels a bit far off at the minute.
I mean, might be impossible for me already, but yeah.
Right, on we go though. Right, let's bring up the. I'm just going to bring up the screen share first, actually, just to talk about benching just talk about transfers and out for Frimpong, really, because that seems to be the big news and the big ownership player as well.
Yeah, you told me about ownership, and I had literally had no idea. I had no idea he was that, because in the Twitter X template, he's nowhere to be seen. And when I saw that, I was just like, oh, what the hell? Because I was thinking I had kind of a spicy pick compared to like most other people I'd seen of teams, but obviously overall, definitely not. So yeah, he's in my team obviously at the moment. I was thinking, I thought he was just going to be fine, and that he was just taking off as kind of like a precaution because Bradley wasn't fit yet, and so he'd be fit for the next game. Apparently not. So yeah, I'm in the situation of, do I just let my bench play in Anderson at home versus United, which is okay, I guess, but at the same time, it's not great. He's probably going to drop in price. So if I ever want to go to a 6-0, straight to a 6-0, I'd have to make 2 transfers. That seems like an awful thing to let happen. So I don't really want to be eating price drops right now. So yeah, who should I be getting? Who should I be selling to? Possibly like Van Dijk in the same team. Maybe that's a good thing. Like, I can't. Do I see Newcastle scoring? Maybe not. But then they did look so open in the last game. And then Arsenal at home after that. But then after that, they've got good fixtures. So maybe Van Dijk for like DEFCONs. I can't see them conceding more than 2 or in most games. So I think like maybe his floor is pretty decent, which we did think would be most at the start, like before we were picking teams, and then I got sidetracked by attacking returns. So maybe there, or maybe just go to Gabriel for the next one. Like, kept a good clean sheet in the first game against a tough opponent, got a good fixture this week. Not so good after that, but maybe Gabriel / Saliba / Calafiori if he's starting to be nailed on, and he scored last week. That could be a spicy one. And then maybe even Munoz at Palace.
Yeah,
talked
I
about
like that
him.
pick as well.
Yeah, don't mind that. There's options across the board, to be honest, for who I could go for. I just need to not take that price drop, I think. So I think I probably will have to move, because he certainly is going to drop, isn't he? Because why would people keep him now? I think so. Especially the casuals that the casuals are the ones that I sell, and the casuals seem to be the ones that own him, including me apparently.
So when they see that big red flag, they are absolutely getting rid of him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I feel like the timing has worked out quite nicely for if you were just a bit unsure on Liverpool. Like I said to you earlier, if it were me, I'm not like the most proactive when it comes to things. Like I would try and muddle through with my bench options if they're still fit until after the transfer window, because if, as expected, someone like Gahey goes to Liverpool, that's someone you're still absolutely going to be able to afford and would allow you to free up funds elsewhere. So that would be like option 1. But I look at also Liverpool's fixtures now, the next 6 for them, which we've got up on screen now. So they've got Newcastle away, Arsenal home, then they've got Burnley away, Everton at home, Crystal Palace away, and Chelsea away. So I think of the next 6, there's only maybe 2, let's say, likely clean sheet games in Burnley away and Everton at home. And we know they've not been performing that well, like in pre-season in defence. They've now lost like another defender. So I think the Newcastle game is almost like a good test, but I don't think you're going to be able to wait that long. And then other teams you talk, I think Arsenal would be like the clear and obvious if you want to reinvest that 6 straight into another 6, because 3 of their next 6 games are really good looking home fixtures. Leeds, obviously this game week, They play Forest in game week 4, and then I think it's game week 7 they play West Ham at home, and that's when their good run starts. So from a future point of view, I would say Gabriel or Saliba most reliable.
Yep.
But yeah, right. Munoz looks good as well. Palace's fixtures are a bit mixed, but he was good last weekend away against Chelsea.
Yeah, so there's options, and so I think I most likely am probably going to move him because I don't want to be taking that price hit this early in the season because that can just hamper things quite bigly. So
definitely. Well, should we bring up your team now, and perhaps we can talk about how Frimpong's move is potentially going to affect your team, and then what, because there's quite a few I think benching dilemmas this weekend with Dubravka being such a popular pick in goal and having a good fixture. Is it worth actually playing him this week?
Yeah, so I've looked at kind of like the most, especially in my team, Dubravka versus Sales, and then quite a lot of people have Sanchez. So like, are you going to be playing Dubravka instead of Sales or Sanchez, basically? So I looked at Burnley's home record versus Sunderland last season in the Championship, and obviously the last 2 results at home, sorry, is 0-0 on both of them. So that's a good sign, encouraging, I suppose, for a clean sheet. But then I also think I saw on Twitter that like Sunderland had something like a 2.34 xG. Trafford made about 14 saves. Yeah. So I don't think Dubravka's got that sort of performance in him. I like the Sunderland attack now much more compared. They certainly looked good last game. So confidence from the first game for Sunderland in a 3-0 win against a Premier League regular. Like Burnley on their hand lost 3-0 to Spurs. So the fixture is one that like both teams are going to be targeted for 3 points, you'd think, so that they're not going to try and draw it, I wouldn't think. So I think Sunderland's potential to score is probably fairly high. I guess we'll see. But Burnley's XGC in the first week was 2.32, which is 19 of all teams. Obviously, they played Spurs. But you probably would have wanted to be a little bit higher at least. So 19th. And then Sunderland's XGC for clean sheets was 0.5, which is joint second best of all teams, which is great. And then Burnley's XG as a team, 0.94, which is 14th. And then Sunderland's XG is actually below Burnley's, 0.7, which is 16th, suggests overperformance versus West Ham. So, kind of worries me slightly because maybe that's like an overperformance and maybe this kind of levels out for both of these teams. So I don't know. Then there's Sales versus like an Ezalus Palace. Like less creativity. I can assume that the potential to score is only going to go down. Forest defense is obviously highly owned, some with doubles and triple stacks. So is it just best to play a Sales to verse the EO there and just kind of back Sales in the sort of better defense? He's 5 million as well. Makes sense to possibly play him. 1.5 XGC for Palace, which is mid-table of all teams, and then an XG of actually 1 for Palace, which is in the first case was mid-table also. So it's kind of like what's going to work out there. Who knows? So. And then Sanchez, on the other hand, 1.1 XGC versus Palace, which is mid-table for all teams. And then West Ham's XG in their first game was 0.6, which is 17th worst. So Sanchez seems like you would start Sanchez and then against West Ham rather than Dubravka, I think. Certainly a better defense than Burnley, sorry. And then, Sales, I think I'm going to start him ahead of Dubravka just because I think they're a better defense and I think Palace are going to get worse. So I think I'm probably going to go for Sales. And then, otherwise, if you just fancy Dubravka or you've got some, I don't know, bad keeper, I don't know why you would have some of a terrible keeper this week to play. So, you probably can't go too wrong in any of these situations, I think. But I expect Sunderland to score is the end of it, really.
Yeah, I do too. I had a look at their the game they played last season, like you did at Burnley, and Sunderland actually missed 2 penalties, or had 2 penalties saved by Trafford in that game in like the last 10 minutes. So
is that what it was? Right?
Yeah, so that's probably why the XG was so high. But I'm not expecting a Sunderland clean sheet, and I think also, I mean, all the keepers you've talked about have got such high ownership. Sanchez up 24%, Sells nearly 20%. So I think this is going to be a popular one this weekend because I think Dubravka is the highest owned, 34 or 35%. So I think a lot of people are going to be having this question. I don't expect a clean sheet from him. I've got a Steve which again, he's so highly, I think he's one of the most highest owned 4 million defenders at 19%. I'm no way thinking about a double up by playing Dubravka over a Sanchez this game week. I think the bigger, better teams. I think, there's little chance he outscores Sells or Sanchez. I think Sells will probably rack up some good clean sheet points, or good not clean sheet, some good save points, and Sanchez will do similar, I expect.
Yeah, it would have been nice if I just went for a Steve on my bench instead of Goodmanson, and I could have just played him this week. Obviously, Goodmanson got 9 points last week, but a Steve would have just been nice to just pop in there for a Sunderland home fixture and be okay with, I suppose. But yeah,
he could be your replacement for Frimpong. Frimpong to a Steve, free up 2 million.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
You could get that Haaland. Yeah.
Another one is a Steve versus Porro. I think a lot of people are looking at. Some Tom Hadley on Twitter /X posted that Spurs scored 12 goals in the last 4 away games versus City, and then that's more than any other side away from home versus City. And then Porro actually scored 14 points in the same fixture last season. So, City looked good in game week 1, so it's understandable to bench him, I think. But Frank, as we kind of mentioned, should employ a back 3 wing-back system against the bigger teams. Porro will play wing-back like we saw against PSG. He's on set pieces or a lot of them. He should or possibly get DEFCON at wing-back position, and City, that could be in play for him. So I'm going to be backing him over a Steve. Like, I don't have a Steve in my team, but I'm backing Porro instead of like an Anderson or a Goodmanson on my bench. So I'm going to play him just for the upside of possible DEFCON in this wing-back situation against a good team, and unsolved paces and his history against City, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
Gosh, I had no idea Porro got 14 points last season. Was that a goal and the clean sheet? Is that what that was?
Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah. And then on Steve, he got 8 DEFCON in game week 1. So yeah, is he going to manage more against like a worse team? Probably not, right? So I'd imagine he's not going to get DEFCON this week, would be my guess. He's going for clean sheet / I don't know, attacking potential on their pieces. That versus Porro to me sounds like Porro should just be the no-brainer start, really. So what do you think?
Well, it's actually a dilemma I've got, because I'll pull up my team in full a bit later. But yeah, at the moment I'm benching Porro and playing as Steve. But I'm sort of basing my decision a little bit more on just like the clean sheet likeliness, which is, just I suppose a different way of looking at it. I think Steve's probably slightly more likely to keep the clean sheet than Porro, and maybe the outlier was the 14 points. I agree. I don't expect either of them are going to get like a much differing like points total, but I just think in a home game against one of their promoted teams, I'd just say it seems more likely that they keep a clean sheet and maybe he gets a DEFCON. And you're right, I had a look at Porro's DEFCON in the Super Cup game against PSG, and I think he only managed 6 in that. So when he played wing back, so I think he is relying on an attacking return, because I do see City scoring, and I kind of think that's probably still less likely than a Steve keeping a clean sheet. I think it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, really close. But no, I think that's a good point. But I think that's what like the fine decisions are coming down to this game week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically it on benching dilemmas. That are most of the benching dilemmas anyway. That I think.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll share my team since we just started talking about Steve, and perhaps we can have a bit of a chat about captaincy as well, because I think it's quite spread this game week, especially with people having different combinations of Salah and Haaland. So I'll put my team up on screen. So the only difference between today and the lineup from Tuesday is that, like I said, I've decided to bench Porro in favour of Agdebu, who's got slightly more clean sheet prospects. And also I'm kind of basing it off the fact that Van Dijk played centre-back, obviously, against Bournemouth and easily got DEFCON. I kind of think that just based on that very small sample size, Agdebu is likely to get DEFCON against Bournemouth at home, maybe because of the style they play. That's all I'm going.
Different players, but okay.
So that's my very loose working theory on that, and I don't think like I say, I don't think either of them are that good picks. But I'm benching Porro over both for Steve and Agdabu. So we will, and I'm basing it purely on chance of clean sheet, and then I'm just hopeful that maybe a Defcon comes in as well. But yeah, so I'm playing Sanchez in goal over Dubravka just because I don't want to double up on Burnley defence, and I'm playing Agdabu as Steve and Murillo away. Palmer, Salah at the moment has got the armband. Bruno's in there with Drewsbury, Hall and Wirtz in midfield. Strand, Larson and Watkins. And interestingly, there was another rumour this afternoon that Newcastle have turned their attention from Wissa, who's now back in training, to Strand Larson. So, yeah.
Yes, I heard that as well. But like 60 odd million, I think seems like quite a lot. Yeah.
But I think at 6.5 million, he would be very, very good in that Newcastle front line. Far more creative than Wolves. So, yeah, would be good. So then just let's have a discussion about where you think, because you're very interested this week in that you don't own Salah, so you will need to look at other ones. So I first started out by having a look at which teams have got the highest goal projections for this game week. So Arsenal come up on top against Leeds of 2.4, City slightly less at 2.3 against Spurs, Chelsea down 1.9 against West Ham, Liverpool and Bournemouth both the same, 1.8. Liverpool obviously playing away against Newcastle, which I was quite surprised that was so high, and Bournemouth 1.8 obviously against Wolves. Villa, who I thought would have been not a lot higher, but in line with Chelsea, are just their 1.6 goal projection against that Brentford side.
I don't know. Did you see that Villa's XG was like the worst of all teams in the
game
one?
I wonder if that was a little bit down to Konsa, but I mean, he didn't get sent off till sort of midway through the second half, so I was surprised about that. So maybe that's why that's bared out like that. Obviously, Brentford have got a few players returning this week. Sharda should be back, Henderson, so perhaps it's maybe not the best week to captain a Villa attacker, but on paper, and Watkins' history against them is good. So, additionally, I suppose I was also surprised that Arsenal are 0.5 higher than Chelsea, given that Leeds I thought were fairly strong against Everton. Meanwhile, West Ham obviously conceded 3 goals against Sunderland. So then
it's Everton attack, like it's not exactly Arsenal.
Exactly. So obviously the main options I think this weekend, Haaland obviously, he's got unexpected points this weekend of 7.1. The word of caution obviously that Frank has done well against City in the past, and Spurs have done well. Just that those players did well against Man City last season and put in a good performance against PSG. Ultimately, obviously, they did concede 2 goals. I don't expect like a rout in this game, but based on how well Haaland, Oscar Bob, and Reinders sort of combined in the game against Wolves, I kind of expect more returns from Haaland in this game. If I had both he and Salah this game week, I would plumb for him in this game. I was interested to read that City's form they've now picked up more points than any other side since the start of April, which is 26, and they're the only ever present side still in the league to be unbeaten in that time. So despite their obviously unsuccessful Club World Cup, they did have a really good end to last season and obviously started this season strongly. So yeah, I think it's obviously going to be a City win in this one, and I wouldn't be surprised to get Haaland to get a return or two. And I think after this game week, there might be quite a clamour to think if Palmer blanks again, how can we switch our teams around to get Haaland in at Palmer's expense?
Yeah. I see that.
And then so I obviously started with Haaland there, despite the fact that they weren't projected to score more goals than Arsenal. So let's go to them next. So you obviously had Saka in your team. A Swedish journalist that, like I said earlier in this week, I think I said it on the Tuesday show, said that Gyökeres had got penalties, and then in a quick fire Q&A with Arteta, he was asked who the best penalty taker at the club was, and he said Gyökeres as well. So that's a bit...
But does that mean he's on them?
No, it doesn't mean he's on them.
Yeah.
But
has he taken that responsibility off Saka? Who knows? Yeah.
So I think the Arsenal captaincy, despite the Leeds fixture looking good, obviously a promoted team at home, Arsenal were comprehensive winners against promoted teams at home last season, Leicester, Southampton. But do you trust an Arsenal attacker now? I don't know if you could if you had Gyökeres, I don't know if you'd captain him. He looked quite rusty against United. Even if he has penalties, he's probably only playing 70 to 75 minutes. And then
But is that the case now that Havertz injured?
Yeah, maybe he plays more minutes. Saka's pretty much nailed to play 90. but he only had 6 open play goals I read last season, and I don't know, it just seems, even though on paper that looks like a good one, it just seems like a bit of an unknown now that he's lost penalties. Like we've said before, he's not like a greedy FPL player like you want him to be. So maybe captaincy. And then Salah, surprisingly, Fantasy Football Hub, which powers a lot of our data and info, they have him down as 7.3 predicted points for the weekend. I kind of don't agree with, because I think it's a much harder game than both City and Arsenal have got.
That's a lot. 7.3.
Don't really agree, but I thought Liverpool were obviously really good going forwards against Bournemouth. They made a lot of chances, despite the fact they're still like a new front line, like 2 new players in that front 4, let's say. He had 3 shots in the box, 1 big chance created, an expected goal involvement of 0.4. He's obviously got a good record last season against Newcastle with a goal and assist in that game, but that doesn't really mean anything for this season with a change of team. The very non-FPL analytic point of me says it's a game on Monday night, and it's nice to keep the captaincy, the armband, like saved over the weekend, so you've got that, but really that shouldn't come into my thinking too much. And then finally, I suppose the outside shouts this weekend, I have to put Palmer in the outside shout just because he's been so super ineffective when playing on the left of that 10. He had 0.2 XGI last weekend, 0.93 expected assists, 0.2 XG. Obviously, West Ham probably will be slightly worse than Palace were. They conceded 3 goals from an XG of 0.8, so it's not like they were wide open. But there hasn't been enough in Palmer in pre-season or like the Palace game to make me think I can trust him to be the armband or to have the armband now. And then the other outlier is Watkins. So like I say, Brentford were the worst performing side defensively last weekend against a team from outside the top 4. Obviously not including penalties in that as well. So they conceded an XGC of 1.9. So they had players out last weekend, like I mentioned. Sade and Henderson should be coming back in. That may or may not make a difference. We don't really know. Watkins has a great record against Brentford too. 6 goals and 1 assist in 7 appearances. But is there like enough of a haul potential in there? I don't know. So I think the long and short answer is, if I had Haaland and Salah, I would pick Haaland at number 1. And then for me personally, I have Salah, Palmer and Watkins, and I still think would plumb for Salah just of those. And I also like Bruno as an outside shout, but again, whilst United played well last weekend, he's still playing that deeper role. He didn't get any DC points, and we're still like only going to be game 2 into the new system with Cunha and Mbeumo, so we still don't know enough about Bruno's reliability. But Salah, he's going to play 90 minutes, and Liverpool proved last weekend they are still a force to be reckoned with going forward.
I mean, Saka's in my team. I don't have Salah and Haaland. Saka's just the default pick for captain this week because of the fixture. Don't feel great about it. Didn't know about the Gyökeres thing, or like definitely being on penalties. Well, not definitely, but rumored to be on penalties before I kind of did this. So I mean, looking at my team now, it feels after game 1 reactionary, but with Saka not being on penalties as well, like the captaincy options in my team are pretty lacking, honestly, especially with Palmer not looking great and Watkins didn't look good. Like it's not great. So I may have to rethink. If Palmer doesn't think this week, then maybe I will need to be getting in Haaland just for captaincies.
I've just switched it back over to your team as well. So you've got the vice captaincy on Bruno. It makes me think you've got like no confidence in Palmer either.
Yeah, I did switch to Palmer when you were talking about him, and then I was just like, I don't know, don't have confidence either. So then I switched it back to Fernando's just a minute ago. So I don't know. Vice probably doesn't really matter this week. I think I'll keep it on Saka. He's not really going anywhere. So maybe I'll just get lucky with Saka, and he just does something this weekend against at home in a good fixture, and maybe Gyökeres is like goes off at like 70 and then he gets
a penalty.
So that I just kind of need something to go my way this weekend, and that might be it. So let's see. But I think other than that, it's Salah or Haaland, isn't it? You just pick whichever one you have. I think if you've got both, I think I'd probably still go Salah, to be honest.
I still feel like missed a huge blind spot with with Haaland. Like he was just he was just there, and the fixtures were decent, and we talked about it a lot.
I'm annoyed I didn't go with my Haaland drafts, which I had pretty much the whole of the preseason, and then I switched, but whatever.
I kind of feel like, I mean, this is moving almost onto transfers for game week 3 now, but I do think if Palmer blanks this weekend and Haaland just looks good, given that how many good sort of 5.5 to 6.5 million players we've got now because of DEFCON, I would think I would quite happily swap Palmer and Watkins for Haaland and either a Reinders or back to Anderson from Forest for even for next game week.
Yeah,
and just make it happen.
Yeah, and then I just want to mention quickly, like Verts should just a quick thing, like should you sell Verts? 29%. He's lost about 450,000 transfers out, I think.
Really? Okay.
But apparently I saw that he's like, the reason he hasn't dropped is because it takes like 10% of ownership to drop, and then but then 50% doesn't matter when it's on like wildcards. So people are like, a lot of his transfers out are on wildcards. So his number to drop would be 310k, but then it was kind of halved because of the numbers of wildcards that's happening. So he's not. Yeah, so he needs to get 310k like
normal transfers, non-wildcard.
Yes, I think that's what he said.
That's so interesting.
I think it was Live FPL that put it out, and they said like,
that's roughly
all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
that's so interesting. I've just had a look at the top transfers out this game week. He's the second highest of all players, and the top 4, the other 3 are all just injured. I'm so surprised people are binning him off already.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I didn't think you should sell. I think this should be a game that he can thrive in against an opponent that's not just going to play on the counter attack. Like 82 minutes, he had 1 shot, XG of 0.14, 3 key passes, not big, 0 big chances created, an XG of 0.28. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not great either, but I just think it's too early to sell. And we said like on Tuesday, like a few of his passes were just sort of millimeters for getting to the last man and having a really good chance to. That would be a chance created or a big chance created. So. I don't think I think it's too early to sell, but then, Semenyo, Cunha could also be good buys this weekend and have decent fixtures, or Mbromo or whatever coming up. So he's not the worst sell either. But so for me, I think patience on him, because I think it's a decent fixture. After that is Arsenal, which is not great, but then after that they've got 2 good fixtures, or green fixtures at least. So I'm still backing him to do fine, and I think he could get something this week, and everyone could be like, oh, well, why do we sell him so quickly? And then Eze, he's obviously gone from Palace now, 10% owned, so maybe not a huge sort of thing to be worried about. But he's probably not going to go into the first 11 straight away, I wouldn't assume. And apparently he's supposed to be playing a game tonight with Palace in the Europa League or Conference League or whatever it is. He's obviously match fit, so his fitness is obviously not an issue. But at the same time, I don't think he'll come straight into an 11 straight away in Arsenal and replace like a Martinelli who's been there for years or something like that. So I think he's probably a sell this week, so you can get a Semenyo in a great fixture, or someone like that. And so like, is he going to play winger at Arsenal? Is he going to oust Odegaard in the 10 position? Like, it's kind of weird that he's touted as like a Havertz backup, which is like, he's not really played that position either, because Havertz is kind of like a false 9. So it's just it's kind of an odd situation, because I just don't know where he's going to play. For me, he's sell and then kind of see what happens and bring him back in if you need to, because there is good options that you can get from his price point for this week, and with good fixtures coming. So and then João Pedro, he's had a lot of transfers out as well. 320k, 7.5 million, 52% owned at the moment. So he's probably going to be getting a drop pretty soon, but maybe it's the wild card thing happening too. So it's kind of, it should have been a predictable outcome, maybe, of just like what we've seen from him before, of just like 72 minutes, despite being in electric preseason form, with a blank. And then, but at the same time, nothing's really changed with what we knew about him. We knew he wouldn't play 90. We knew Palace would be solid defensively. His stats were okay. We knew what's his name, Dilemas on the bench for him to come on. But 0.28 XG is fine, 2 shots, but then at the same time, 0 key passes, 0 big chances created, and a 0.02 XA, so that's not so great. But I think the fixtures are still there for him just to keep, I think. Fulham, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford. So until at least Game Week 5 where you can think about Manchester United away and selling him. But like up until then, I think these fixtures are still worth him, or he's going to get something. At least I hope, or it'll just be just a proper all-time FPL troll if he blanks in all of these. That'll be hilarious.
I do think if he does, I mean, tomorrow night's the Friday night game. I do think if he blanks tomorrow, given the fact that's the first game of the weekend, the fact that he's got so many transfers out already.
Mass exodus,
yeah, I think so. People will just be fed up with him after 2 game weeks if he has like 70 minutes and doesn't do anything. But
yeah, I can see that.
That was the risk with him. But I think it doesn't help, obviously, that Wood did well last week. Benitez's got some good fixtures coming up, but there wasn't that many strikers that actually did well last week. So I don't know where people are really investing. Cool. All right. Well, then to wrap it up, then you're likely going to do Frimpong to an Arsenal defender?
Maybe an Arsenal defender, yeah. That seems quite good to me.
And Saka captain this week?
Yes, yeah.
And
then maybe I'll think about Anderson versus Porro then.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah, I think Anderson will be fine this game week.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to roll because I don't really have any issues, and I'm just probably going to captain Salah for that Monday night feeling. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Cool.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll be back next Tuesday to do start thinking about game week 3, where I might have 2 transfers, and I might be bringing in a big Norwegian piece. We'll see.
And I'll probably be taking a hit to do it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever.
Until then, bye bye.
Cheers all.